James Gunn's Supergirl is not the film you think it is. It opens with Krypto the superdog urinating on a newspaper headline about Superman. It then introduces Kara Zor-El, Superman's cousin, one of the most iconic superheroes in history, as a nomadic, hard-drinking, deliberately self-destructive mess, seeking out junk heat bars on planets with red suns specifically because her powers don't work there. That is a genuinely bold, creative decision. Whether the film earns it is where things get complicated. Here's the setup. Kara Zor-El, survivor of Krypton's destruction, Superman's cousin, has been living a nomadic, deliberately powerless existence across the galaxy. Then two things happen simultaneously. Her dog Krypto gets poisoned by Krem of the Yellow Hills. Matthias, the Belgian actor playing a Mad Max reject with a shaved head and a scraggly ponytail and rows of silver piercings. And a young girl named Ruthie, played by Ridley, arrives with a sword and a memorized speech, seeking Supergirl's help to hunt down the same man who murdered her parents. The antidote to Krypto's poison hangs around Krem's neck. Ruthie needs him dead. Their goals align, and what follows is a road trip through the galaxy's grimiest corners. Alien watering holes, brigand strongholds, planets full of stolen brides and tricked-out vehicles. That is equal parts Star Wars Cantina and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It's directed by Craig Gillespie, who made I, Tonya, and Cruella, two of the most stylistically distinctive comic book adjacent films of the last decade. He is an Australian filmmaker with a genuine gift for punk energy and darkly comic character work, which makes what happens here both encouraging and genuinely baffling. Let me start with what this film gets genuinely undeniably right. Millie Alcock. Even the film's harshest critics agree on this. She is the reason to see Supergirl, and she is exceptional in every scene. Alcock plays Kara's swagger and self-destruction as a specific kind of armor, and you see in every quiet moment what's underneath it. A survivor carrying the full weight of Krypton's destruction. A girl who watched everything she loved die and decided the safest response was to feel as little as possible. Slash Film called it one of the most authentic portrayals of resilience in superhero cinema precisely because she is so visibly not okay for most of the film. And they're right. She is a genuinely compelling, genuinely complex heroine, and she carries this film on her back even when the film doesn't fully deserve her. Ridley as Ruthie is the film's second great performance. A young actress with extraordinary physical and emotional presence whose honor-bound, slightly formal speech patterns make her feel genuinely alien in the best possible way. Her dynamic with Alcock is the film's most consistent source of both comedy and genuine feeling. And then there's Jason Momoa as Lobo. Entirely, magnificently, joyfully insane. Momoa plays the interplanetary bounty hunter as a force of chaotic nature, showing up at opportune moments, absolutely nuts, prone to driving off into the sunset on his space hug before anyone can stop him. Every scene he's in is the best scene in whichever sequence he's in. If this is how James Gunn plans to integrate DC heroes going forward, chaotic surprise appearances that steal the whole film, let's go. The film's most interesting structural decision is also one of its genuine strengths, keeping the stakes deliberately personal. No world-ending threat, no universe-devouring villain, just save the dog, help the girl get her revenge. Most superhero films are about saving the world, but Supergirl is about learning to save yourself. And in its best moments, that smaller, more intimate ambition is exactly the right call. The soundtrack, Wet Leg, Halsey, a Jimmy Eats World needle drop that lands perfectly, is the most effective music supervision in any DCU film. Now here's where I have to be completely honest with you, because this film's ambitions and the film's execution are not always in the same room. The screenplay by Anna Nogueira is the most significant problem. Variety was savage about it, and the savagery is partially earned. The script relies on the Mad Max aesthetic without understanding what made Mad Max work, which was that underneath all the chrome and dust, there were real characters with real stakes. Here, the character work is consistently sketchy. Kara's trauma, losing Krypton, losing her family, is communicated in overproduced flashback sequences that feel more like a CGI showreel than an emotional history. The film tells you she's haunted. It rarely makes you feel it. Matthias as Krem is a genuinely charismatic actor playing a villain who's more aesthetic than character. The shaved head, the silver piercings, the indeterminate accent. It's striking enough. But Krem never generates the sense of real danger that Ruthie's grief demands. He's a Mad Max reject without Mad Max's fury. The film needs a villain you fear. It has a villain you notice. The visual presentation is also murkier than it should be. Too dark, too busy, too in love with its own grungy aesthetic to let sequences breathe. And a scene early in the film where a young girl asks why Superman gets to be a man while Supergirl isn't called Superwoman is the kind of shallow gender commentary that feels like a box being ticked rather than a thought being expressed. RogerEbert.com called it 101 level feminism. They're not wrong. For a film this interested in positioning Kara as the complicated, morally grey opposite of her Boy Scout cousin, that scene is embarrassingly surface level. Here's where I land. Supergirl is a film I respect more than I love and enjoy more than I can fully defend. It has a genuinely great performance at its centre, a refreshingly small-scale emotional premise, the year's best superhero film soundtrack, and Jason Momoa playing Lobo like someone gave a Labrador retriever nuclear weapons. These are real achievements, but it also has a screenplay that can't match its star ambition, a villain who is aesthetic rather than threatening, a visual presentation that's murkier than it should be, and a director who made Tonya, one of the most stylistically inventive character studies of the last decade, producing action sequences that Screen Rant accurately called fine. Craig Gillespie is capable of so much more than fine. Here, the MCU-DCU formula has absorbed his instincts rather than the other way around. Millie Alcock is a star, full stop. She will carry this franchise forward and she will be extraordinary doing it. The film around her is an interesting mess. Not a boring failure like the 1984 original, but an interesting mess. And sometimes an interesting mess made with genuine ambition is worth your time. I'm giving Supergirl a 6 out of 10. See it for Millie Alcock, stay for Lobo, and hope that next time the script is in the same galaxy as the performance. Like the video if this helped, subscribe for weekly reviews, and tell me in the comments, is Supergirl better or worse than James Gunn's Superman? Because I have a strong opinion and I want to know if you agree. See you next time.